Hello and welcome. I'm Josephine Ann Camerano, and I'm a professional drapery seamstress. And I would like to share with you my experiences in constructing draperies. I would like to show you how you can make heavenly window treatments. Shall we begin? Okay, first let me show you the rod that I'm going to use. Double sash. The reason I'm using double sash is that if I feel like putting a pair of shears under here, under the overdrape, I can. If I don't want that, maybe I want to leave the window open, I could take the shears off and just leave the overdrape. Or if I feel like putting a shade, perhaps. I could put a shade, the shears, and the overdrape sometimes. It looks very pretty, very versatile. So we're going to use two in case you want to change and change and change. Okay, first we're going to measure the width of the window. Okay, that is 34 inches wide. Okay, now standard, we go 3 inches on each side of this window. So that is 6 on top of 34. So now we have a 40-inch wide window. And I'm going to write that down, 40 inches wide. Now the length. We go from the top, because that's a good connection. You don't have to keep messing with your rule. Go all the way down to the floor. That's how we're going to go this time. If I can get this moving here. Okay, we have 82. We have 82 inches in length. Now, I'm going to go 3 inches above, which makes the drape look real nice on the window. Standard measurement. 82 inches plus 3 is 85 inches. Okay, we write 85 down. Now, we need 2 inches above the rod, once the rod is on there, for the ruffle. So we add 2 inches. Now we have 87 for our finished length. We've got the length, and we've got the ruffle on the top, which is 2 inches. Now we have 87 inches. Now we're going to add for the hem. Now this is for the fabric, and this is for the cut length. Okay, we're going to use a 5-inch double hem. So that's 10 inches to that 87 finished length. Now we have to have fabric for the ruffle and the rod pocket. Now the ruffle is 2 inches. The rod pocket is 1.5 inches. That is 3.5 inches total. We double that in fabric. So 3.5 and 3.5 is 7 inches. We need 7 inches in fabric to the already finished length here. Now we have 87 finished length, 10 inches for the hem, 7 inches for the rod pocket, and ruffle. Now, the reason we double that ruffle is to give it nice body through the rod. Okay, so we add all those together, which gives us a 104-inch cut length. Now, how many cut lengths do we need? Well, we're not going to line these drapes, so I go about 3 times full. So how you get the fullness is this. You take 40 times 3, divided by the width of the fabric that you pick. It almost comes out to 2 point something, so that means, it's closer to 3 point than it is to 2 points. So we'll go with the 3 widths here, which will make a nice full drape. Now that we have the measurements, we want to know how many yards it takes. We have 104 inches in cut length, and we need 3 widths of those. So 3 times 104 divided by 36 gives us 8.66 yards on a calculator. So that's almost 8 3/4 yards. That's all you need for that. Now we're getting ready to mount the double sash bracket. We're going 3 inches out, you put a little dot. And we're going 3 inches above, and you put another little dot. 3 inches above this molding. Now, this is the bracket to our double sash rod, And we already have it marked 3 inches above this molding. Now, where 3 inches would be when you mount this bracket would be right here where the prong is. Not here, because you're going to get another ½ inch above or more. Okay, so we take this and rest my ruler here while I'm up here, and we put these little prongs right on that dot right here. And we mark our little screw holes, 1, 2. And we go to the other side and do the exact same thing, and we're finished. Now that the brackets are installed, we can get on with the construction of the draperies. I've just constructed a table to do the draperies on. It consists of 3 sawhorses, which are about 35 inches in height. On top of that, we have a ½ inch sheet of plywood, and on top of that, we have a ½ inch sheet of drywall, which both are 4 by 8, which gives me 96 inches in length to do draperies, which is a nice size table, and it's plenty. It's plenty to do draperies on, and I think you're going to like it. And now we're going to put the tarp on the top. Now, after the construction of this table, we need to cover it with a duck cloth. And we're going to do that right now, and then we're going to show you how to staple it right quick and make it nice and taut so your lines won't move around. Okay, get the staple gun. Okay, I'm going to come around over here and I'm going to staple this end. Like so. Then we're going to come around here. Pull this taut. Staple. And then secure the sides. Get all the wrinkles out. Okay, after stapling all 4 sides, getting it nice like this, now it's time to draw the lines. Need a rule? Bring the ruler all the way down to the end. Get you a pen, a fine pen of indelible ink, marker, and start marking every inch. Make a little line like that. Every inch till you get 96 little lines. 96 inches. You need these. These are very important to be accurate. That's why we use a fine marker. Indelible ink doesn't wash off. Stays forever practically. We have marked both sides of the table with the rule. Now it's time to number them, which is most important. Now we're going to start at the bottom here. This here end of the table is 0, and we're going to count to 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 would be the 0 again to start the rest of the numbers up the table. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Now that we have the marks from the rule and numbered every mark, now it's time to put the lines on the table. Number to number. Now we're going to match the numbers. Now if we matched all the numbers, there would be 96 lines on the table. Well, since time is an essence, what we're going to do, and it's fine, we're going to do every 10 inches. Okay, this way, you know, all the sequences are there. Okay, now, as you see, I put push pins on every 10 inches. Now down here I have it a 1 inch below a 10, and I have it on an 8 inch because we're going to need that line later, and I will explain as we go why we need them later. But okay, now the first line that we're going to put on is on the 0. Okay, and I have the push pin here, and I'm going to just draw a line with my marker, my wonderful little black indelible ink marker, and we got a line there. I love. You could take the pin out now in case it gets in the way, you never know. And then we're going to go on number 10, and then we're going to go on 20. It's time to cut this beautiful fabric and make a beautiful curtain out of it. We need 104 inches in fabric, and we need 3 widths of that 104. Now our table is only 96 inches, so we need 8 inches above that. So what I'm going to do, and what I'm going to show you when you have a problem like that, is you're going to put a pin where 8 inches is, right here. And then on the other side, because don't forget that these tables have all straight edges. It's wonderful. There's nothing like having a table. Put another little 8-inch pin. Now that's 8 inches right down here. Now, then we take this like this, and we move to the pin. Just move that bolt of fabric, put that pin right on the edge. Now there's your 8 inches. It's over. Make sure that this is the same right there. Straighten it out like this. See? Remember the straight edge. You see this little wrinkle here? Now watch when I get the straight edge. See how nice and straight and flat it is? That little booger went up again. But sometimes that's how it goes. What are you going to do? Okay. Now, as we roll along here, we're going to keep this fabric on the straight edge. Okay, make sure it's straight wherever you go. Now, we'll take this fabric up like this. Okay, now we're going to move it to the edge of the table. Now what I'm going to do so it doesn't roll all over the place is I'm going to press this in right at the edge of this table. Just press that in there. See? Get a little press mark in there. Then I'm going to lift this up, and you have a line there to cut across, nice and straight. Take my scissors. And I have a 104-inch panel. There it is. Now I need 2 more of these, and then I'm going to cut one of these in half. And I think I'll cut the first one in half so that you can see, so you don't have to wait. All right. Take my little pins out. Always get rid of the pins as fast as you can. You never know, you might get stuck with them somewhere. All right. Fold this in half like this. Another straight edge. Fabric is cut straight, it's always a straight edge. Okay? Line up your panel in half. Nice. Now, I always like to make my life a little easier, you know, by doing things easy for myself. Now, I don't want to come along here and start cutting over here. Where am I going to go? So what I'm going to do is just bring it back over here so I can cut it nice, just like this. It's easier that way. Then I can move this somewhere and cut the other two out. See? You got your half already. There you have it. You've got your halves. Now all I need is 2 full cuts, and I'm ready to sew them together. We have our 3 cuts now, and I have the 2 whole pieces on the table, so I show you what I'm doing. And I have the 2 halves that we cut in my hand here. Now I'm going to put 1 half on the right, like that, real quick. Doesn't have to be flat or anything, because we're going to pick it up and sew it. This is selvage to selvage. Now we have a right side and we have a left side, and I must tell you the selvage is going to be cut off. The selvage is the frayed edge on fabric. Okay, now this is selvage to selvage. Okay, now this part right here is going to be our hem. I work from the bottom up. Okay, now we're going to take these and we're going to sew them straight down on the machine. Now it's time to sew the panels together, the 1 1/2. And as I see here, the selvage is a little over a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to sew in about 3/4. I want to pass that selvage because that selvage is going to be cut off, and it's a little stiff. So I want to, you know, I don't want my machine cutting into that heavy selvage. So this will be nice, 3/4 inches in. Now I'm going to run a few stitches so I could get a hold of some of the fabric. Now, how to sew the seams. Now, you take the fabric that passes that needle that you have sewn, and you hold it, and you hold the bottoms together like this, and you pull them slightly, and you sew into the machine like this. And the reason for that is so you don't have any puckers when you're done. That eliminates practically all of them. Every once in a while you'll get stubborn fabric, but this one is working beautiful. All right, again, a little taut, top and bottom, sew into the machine. Beautiful, beautiful. A little more till the bottom, and we'll be done with that. Little taut on the bottom, little pull at the top, but not too tight, just a little. Into the machine. Into the machine, a little taut. I'm going to show you right here how that seam is. Let me get it here. Beautiful. Not a pucker. It's going to lay beautiful. Once I cut all that selvage off, it'll be gorgeous. Now we're going to cut off the selvage like I said, and this machine cuts it off and binds the raw edges at the same time. Now you go a little bit and then you hold it like I told you on the other machine, just a little taut, and continue to sew. See, it gives a nice little edge, and that's what you want. You don't want any raw edges sticking out or no heavy selvage sticking out of your drapes, even though it's in the back. Makes for a nicer seam. You go into the machine with your hand up to a safety point. Don't let the fabric slip through your hand. It causes puckers that way. And we're done. I'm going to be using a 5-inch double hem. And the reason for a 5-inch double hem, because it's a long drape. The 5-inch double hem gives it body at the bottom, which allows the drape to hang real nice, heavy like that, okay? Now here's how I do it, fast and simple. I measure out 5 inches of fabric, right? Put my finger here at the top, turn it, pull it down towards me for easier access. Measure again to make sure I rolled it. Here it is, 5 inches. Okay. I put my pin here and here. Now what that is it gives me an extra hand. Makes it easy for me. Okay, I roll it down here, line it up, nice and flat. Now, I still have to measure. 5 inches, perfect. You put a pin in, secure that, okay? Move your pins down, check this. Now I always put a pin where the seam is. For some reason or another, that little bugger moves. Okay, that seam is secured. All the way down again, 5 inches. If it's not 5 inches, roll it up a little more. Okay, here we go. Another 5 inches, a little short, 5 inches. Another pin, 5 inches. There we are. The hem is pinned in. Now I put my, if you see, I put my pins this way. The reason for that is if you put them this way and you go to sew them on your machine, because you're going to be sewing on your machine right at the edge, you get pinched, pinched, pinched. This way, they're this way. You don't get pinched. So that's a little tip from me. Okay, now we got the hem in. Now instead of going to the machine, because there's no lining in it, instead of going to the machine and sewing this, I'm just going to go right ahead and do my side hems. This way, when I go to hem, I'm going to hem the bottom, the sides, and I'm done. I don't have to keep stopping. Get up, sew, stop, get up, sew, stop. So, now, start at the bottom. Put that side hem. Line your drape up. Always line your drape up. Nice and flat. You don't want a wrinkled mess. Okay. Now we need a 1.5 inch double on the sides. That's standard. Okay, and it makes for a nice, this little pin here, I have to move it over. It's a little close to the edge. It's getting in my way. Okay, we roll a 1/2 inch and we roll it again. What is it? 1.5 inches, right on the nose. All righty. Put your pin here. Take your push pin. Put it anywhere that's good for you to hold it in. Roll all the way down. Almost done, see? See that nice roll? Pins. Take your finger, take your ruler like this. Don't press it in with an iron, because a lot of things start to happen when you do that. Roll them, sew them, and then press them when you're ready, after they're sewed in. So what did I say? You roll them, you measure them, and then you press them. Roll them, measure them, sew them, then press them. See what a beautiful hem that looks like already, and I didn't even put an iron to it. Now I'm going to roll this around and get the other side. Flip it around. Don't be afraid of it. We have the bottom hem sewn in and the side hems sewn in. Now we will put the weights in. All you do is flip the part by the hem that you haven't sewn, and you just drop that little weight in there, roll it over right in with the side hem, and start hand stitching. It's the only part of the drape that you have to hand stitch. Little loops like this. And when I'm done, I'll show you the benefits of putting the hem in first and the side hem in second, which makes a lovely, lovely finish. It's the only way that I would want my drapes done, because it gives such a nice finish. And I'm almost there. Get yourself a nice long needle so you can go quickly. And we secure the knot. Cut it off. There it is. And look, when that's hanging, it's a nice smooth side hem. And your little opening would be at the bottom, dropped on the floor, nobody sees it. Isn't that nice? Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now we're ready for the finished length. The finished length is 87. Now, this line that I'm on, this very edge of this table, is 86. So we're going to put it on the 86 line, and then we're going to drop down one inch, which would make it 87 inches. And when I get down there, I'll show you. Now, these are push pins like before. So we're going to put these all the way across and secure that line. Okay, not too far apart. Like this. A little tough on that one, so we'll drop down there. Just as long as you get it to stay, you put those pins anywhere you want. Just not too far apart. Now, because we have more to hem, you need to know where you finished off. Take a little pin and you put it here. Now make sure when you're putting your pins in that you put one right on the seam line, because that tends to be a little smaller when pulled. Come around here. We had 86 up there, and we need one more down here to make 87, which is our finished length. You press it in, keep it on that line, and as you're doing that, you're going to pull down on those pins just ever so slightly. And that's all. Not too tight, because it's going to bounce short. Just a little bit. As a matter of fact, when you get done pressing, it should be on that line. If you pull too tight, it's going to be shorter than that line. Now we need our ruffle and our rod pocket. Double. So we measure here from the line that we pressed at least 7 inches. Cut across. This looks like it's great, so. And it works right across. Now, we fold it in half. Now, this one right here, we have a 2-inch ruffle on the top and a 1.5-inch rod pocket. So that's 3.5 inches we need right here to make that. So we measure. It's another rolled top, just like the rolled hem, just like the rolled side hem. Only we measure 3.5 inches. Once we have that all pressed in, take our pins and secure it so it don't flop all over the place. And again, vertically put your pins so when you're sewing you don't get stuck. Okay, now what to do with this? Excuse me. We're going to take our pins out now and move this over. I have a whole lot to move over, it's just a little bit. Move it over, up to the pin. See the pin there on the 86th line again. The table's brand new, so we really got to push those pins in, but I don't mind at all. Pin. Now where the pin is where we finished off last, so put a couple pins past it, a little bit there. Go back down here for the top, straighten that up. Now our side hem. I'm going to show you how to press it. I pressed the other side beforehand, so that's why I didn't show you there. But what you do, you don't take your iron and press real hard. What you do is you take your finger on the stitches that you sewed in there, and you tug a little. There's a lot of tugging in drapery so that things don't pucker, and you quickly, with your iron, go right up, just lightly, and quickly. And then you have a nice flat, but not such a hard pressed side seam. Then over here, we get our finished length again now on the 87 mark. Down here. And we roll it under. Get our little ruler. Again, 3.5 inches for the heading. Lightly touch it and rod pocket. Put our pins in, and we are done with this finished length. We are going to put in the 2-inch ruffle at the top and the 1.5-inch rod pocket now. And this is the last phase of the drapes. The drapery construction end. A little back tack at the beginning. The same technique with your hands, a little taut pulling. Keeps it from puckering. Now in here, if you have a little extra fabric, you can put a little tuck in the back here because this is the back of the drape. That's okay. But if you hold it like I tell you, you'll have the least amount of tuckings. Now I feel a tuck coming on, so I'm just going to take my finger and put that tuck in there, because that's what happens on the header sometimes. Little back tack on the end to secure the thread so they don't pull out. And at this point, we could take these pins out. Notice I didn't get pinched once because I put the pins in vertically. Take all the threads off at this point so you don't forget them. Okay, now I have, with masking tape already, have masked off 2 inches so that I can just sew quickly and with ease. Again, tautness. Remind you to go into the fabric with your hand instead of letting the fabric slip through your fingers. A little pleat there, it's all right there in that spot. A little back tack at the end, and we're finished. Do the other side, and we're done. Now we're going to do a quick pressing. I call it quick pressing because this fabric that I use tonight doesn't really need a whole lot of pressing. It doesn't wrinkle that much. So I use my table as an ironing board. I put an ironing board pad in because I like the cushion of it. So we take, all we do is take this drape and go quickly over. Make sure you touch the side hems just a little. Wherever you see a wrinkle. There isn't very many on this, so I just look at it quickly, go over some of them like that. You know, put a little more heat on here. You just go quickly. Oh. Now, if a drape is very wrinkled, on a work table like this, you'll see it right away. And you'll be able to get it quickly because the drapes aren't falling all over the place. Now I'm going to fold this real quickly before I install it, just so it doesn't get wrinkled again. And I'll get to the other side. Now we're going to install the shears on the small rod here. Now, these shears can also be installed on the outside rod if you want to change your look. You can put it on the outside because we made it exactly like the over drape, but there's a difference in the length, only a 1/2 inch. Okay, we have a 1/2 inch shorter so it doesn't stick out of the over drape, and we have it 4 times full instead of 3 times full. So as you can see, it would make a lovely outer drape too. But for this one is the inner one. Now I have the finished drape that we worked so hard to finish. And now it's ready to be installed. Okay, a little click over here and a little click over there and we're done. Okay, now we dress the ruffle on the top. We have to make that nice and smooth and nice and crisp looking, okay? And sometimes it just takes a little moment or two here. All right, here we go. Almost ready. Now the tie backs to be mounted would be 40.5 inches up from the floor and no more than 3 inches out from the molding, just like the rod is. You don't want your tie back way out here when the rod is only 3 inches out from the molding. So we mark it 40.5, 3 inches out. On this side, 40.5 inches and 3 inches out. Okay, now we take 2 tie back hooks. Okay, first tie back hook would be on that mark that I just told you and just marked, and you hammer it in as far as you can. Then you take a second one and you put it right alongside, about 1 inch closer, which would be 2 inches from the molding. Okay, and you will take your tie back, put the outside one on the outside, and you would take this one in, adjust it a little bit, and turn it around under here. And put it on the second one. The reason for the 2 tie back hooks, then we're going to dress these down when I get the other one in. The reason for these 2 tie back hooks, it lets a space in there so this end will go right there and make a nice finish. I want to thank you very much for allowing me to show you my work. I hope that this will help you create your own heavenly window treatment.